Intel report November 21, 2022. Iranian protests burn Ayatollah's home. Government claims Western-backed civil war plots. Iranian activist network 1500 Tasfir claimed it set fire to the ancestral home of Iranian founder Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. The incident comes amid a drastic escalation of civil unrest in the Islamic Republic, where anti-government protesters have turned increasingly violent, targeting security forces and calling for the death of the Iranian leader and Khomeini's successor Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Iran's Foreign Minister Hossein Amirabdollahian alleged Western countries were behind the growing violence, saying, security services, Israel, and Western politicians had made plans to incite civil war, destruction, and the disintegration of Iran. Amirabdollahian warned that these Western elements should know that Iran is not Libya or Sudan, citing Western culpability in the popular anti-government Arab Spring uprisings. RP. Russia-NATO satrap. Russia cripples Ukraine's energy infrastructure, risks shutdown of KYIV grid. Speaking at a joint press conference with the Vice President of the European Commission, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal said the latest rounds of Russian attacks on Ukraine's civilian infrastructure had disabled almost half of the country's energy system. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said as many as 10 million people, about half the population of New York, are without power. Kyiv's city administration head Mykola Poroznik said the city was preparing for various scenarios, including a complete shutdown of its grid as engineers race to repair power infrastructure during the first snow of the winter. AC. Zelensky's comments indicate that a quarter of Ukraine's population is without power and heat at the onset of extreme cold and winter weather. This lends credence to UN warnings of a looming humanitarian disaster in the country. The situation also presents an opportunity for Russia to build domestic support in propaganda narratives that portray its forces as saviors of suffering people abandoned by the Ukrainian government. RP. Sweden confirms sabotage of Nord Stream pipeline. In a publicized statement, Swedish prosecution authority officials confirmed the Nord Stream gas pipeline leaks were the result of deliberate gross sabotage. Saying the investigation was still ongoing, lead prosecutor Mats Ljungqvist said an analysis conducted on objects recovered from the blast site had found traces of explosives. The official declined to say what type of explosive had been utilized. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov praised the announcement as providing confirmation of information already possessed by Russia, saying it was imperative to find the one behind this explosion. Peskov indicated that Russia would wait for the final investigation results before deciding whether any repairs would be made. AC. The refusal of Swedish authorities to name the type of explosive found and comments regarding the feasibility of determining the culprit's identity indicate an unwillingness to name a suspect due to political concerns. However, the phrasing used could also indicate the residue lacks any specific identifying chemical markers or is from an explosive in common use, which could make tracing it to a specific user all but impossible. RP. Latin America satrap. Pro-Bolsonaro protesters block highways, threaten strike in renewed unrest. Brazilian Federal Highway Police issued a bulletin indicating protesters had blocked 6 highways after President Jair Bolsonaro posted a cryptic video of himself driving a truck, bus, and tractor to social media. The video references the agricultural, transport, and public service industries that form Bolsonaro's support base and has been viewed as encouraging ongoing protests by supporters. Following the video's release, Brazilian truck drivers issued a call for general strikes alleging they would not be paid after their employers' accounts were frozen for funding prior pro-Bolsonaro protests. Bolsonaro's supporters have increasingly gathered outside military facilities to plead for assistance from the army, calling for a return to military dictatorship amid claims of widespread voter fraud. Bolsonaro has yet to concede to Lula's victory in the elections but has remained out of public view and refrained from public comment. RP. Ecuadorian natives oust mining companies. Ecuador's Shuar-Arutum indigenous people group issued a statement barring Chinese-backed mining companies from operating on their territories. The announcement comes after Ecuador's constitutional court ruled an environmental permit issued to explore Cobras SA, a division of the Chinese company CRC Xidongguan Investment, was granted in violation of the rights of the indigenous group. The decision and resulting announcement by the indigenous community effectively closes the San Carlos Pananza copper mine that has been operating since 2011, resulting in a huge economic loss for the mine's Chinese backers. Shura Rudum President Josefina Tunke warned against further interference by the mining groups, saying that the Shura Rudum people would not accept any entry to their territory and will always be ready to defend our autonomous lands. RP. China and Indo-Pacific SITREP. North Korea tests ICBM capable of hitting U.S. mainland. North Korea launched a long-range intercontinental ballistic missile in the second operational test this month. South Korean military officials reported the missile traveled 1,000 kilometers, about 621.37 miles, and reached an altitude of 6,100 kilometers, about 3,790.36 miles, before landing in the Japanese Economic Exclusive Zone. Japanese Defense Yasukazu Hamada warned that the missile could have an operational range of up to 15,000 kilometers, about 9,320.57 miles, giving it sufficient range to cover the entire mainland United States. Hamada issued a warning to Pyongyang, saying Japan absolutely cannot tolerate such actions. The missile test came hours before joint military exercises over the Sea of Japan, East Sea, aimed at strengthening the deterrence and response capabilities of the Japan-US alliance. RP. Euro Development Bank offers billions for Central Asian shipping routes. At a conference in the Uzbek city of Samarkand, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, EBRD, announced it was offering billions in investments to develop and expand overland shipping routes in Central Asia. Citing recent world developments and increased interest in the Trans-Caspian Middle Corridor shipping route, EBRD President Odile Renaud-Basso said her bank was seeking investment in projects to expand cargo flows and reduce shipping bottlenecks. The EBRD said it was interested in developing new routes through Central Asia pending an analysis of regional, political, commercial, and fiscal risks needed to prioritize multi-billion euro investments. The Middle Corridor has become increasingly crucial to Europe as Western sanctions have curbed shipping along northern routes through Russia, making expanding the Transcarpathian route necessary to ensure economic stability. The ERBD announcement also serves as a direct challenge to Chinese and Russian regional development efforts, advanced during the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Samarkand earlier this year. This overt challenge opens a new front for gray zone economic and political warfare between global NATO and the Eastern Alliance, RP.